This week on Gotta Go,
Molly's been stuck in a Thai hospital.
which felt like a 5-star resort. And I'm going to share some money-saving travel tips.
Plus joy baiting and why your family needs an open mic night.
All this and more on Gotta Go, Gotta Go, Gotta Go, Gotta Go, Gotta Go.
Hi Mole, nice to see you. It's been a bit of a dramatic week for you.
Look, it has been. We actually popped in to hospital. So I was in Chiang Mai and Amali started getting this little cough and it wasn't going away. So after about day 3, I was like, look, let's just check it out. So we went into a hospital, a private hospital in Chiang Mai, and this thing looks like a 5-star hotel. God, they do hospitals well in Thailand. And straight away, we saw this amazing pediatrician and she's like, I'm pretty sure your daughter has RSV. I will just swab her and then we'll wait. And I'm like, oh God, how long are we going to have to wait? Thinking it's going to be hours and hours. And they're like, oh, we'll have the results back in 1 hour. I was like, wow. So meanwhile, we did like the suctioning and an hour later.
Suctioning, like suctioning her
throat
lungs.
and nose. Yeah, it was pretty horrendous.
But she didn't like that.
Oh, she hated it. I was like crying. Like,
Oh.
baby was crying. I was crying. I had to leave the room. Anyway, unfortunately, she had RSV and the doctor was like, we want to keep her for a night or 2 just so we can track her, keep doing the suctioning. And I was like, oh, so was it good that we came into hospital? And she just looked at me and she was like, yes, very good. I'm like, okay, that was lucky. And then they took us up to our room. And this room was enormous. They were like, here's your menus.
Molly's like, this is nicer than the hotel we're staying in.
Honestly, it was actually nicer than the first hotel we stayed in Chiang Mai. And there was like room service. It was crazy. It was attached. There was a skywalk from the hospital to like this full like plaza full of food options. It was amazing.
Wow.
And we just got such good care. And me and my partner were just blown away the whole time. And then like
That's can I say that's not what I had in mind when I was thinking of you in a hospital in Thailand somewhere with the
honestly,
baby. I would be freaking out.
I was expecting some like grim place. And then I spoke to travel insurance and they said to me, how's the hospital? And I was like, it's kind of amazing. And she goes, yeah, we have a saying, if you're going to get sick anywhere in the world, make sure it's Thailand because the hospitals are that good. And I was like, that is crazy.
Did not know that.
We ended up being in there for 3.5 days. And
She's like, we're never leaving. Can we book a longer stay?
Great. Like she had chest x-rays. She has getting this suctioning. We got all this medication. We left and it was $2,000, of which travel insurance paid the whole thing except for $200, our excess. But it was just like, wow. Like I was just like, that could have been such a stressful, horrendous time. And because just like everything was so professional, it was just so much easier. And I have to just like give a big shout out to Thailand hospitals. My God.
Well, I'm glad to hear you through it all, Mole. And I had to just like not to make it about me, but as big sister, I had to just like disconnect from it and be like, well, you're in a good place. You're probably getting better as good a treatment as you'd get here. And you've got this and you will sort it out. Because like, I feel like it was like my fears of you going overseas with a small baby were coming to fruition. And then I had to be like, I can't stress about this because it's not helping anything.
I don't know where there's many countries where you arrive and within 5 minutes you're seeing a pediatrician.
Yeah,
like,
and also
it was very quick.
And you're very much excused for sleeping through our original podcast recording time this week.
I was like, do it at 7 a.m. I'll be up. What will I be
you
doing?
were like, 7 will be great. Like, let's just lock it in for 7 a.m. And then, Vinny can have the baby. We'll just smash it out. And then I called you and you're like, hello. And I'm like, are you ready for it to record like 5 minutes ago? And you're like, oh, and yeah.
As I said, normally I would have been, but because she's got like acute bronchitis is what you get from RSV. She's up like every hour coughing or like a bit upset. So I had not had like more than an hour's sleep for the last 3 days. And so when it came to 7 a.m. I was like, huh?
Excuses, Mo. I'm questioning your commitment
My
to this
child's
project.
in hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like probably the best excuse getting around, really. It's right up there.
Dog ate my homework. Child's in hospital.
We are still sick. I feel like we've been sick the whole time you've been gone. We've just rolled from one thing into the
Bronnie,
next thing in this
you
house.
guys have been sick since we started this podcast.
Yeah, well, no, that's a bit dramatic. But like we have been sick for a good month, I would say.
This was interesting because I actually was speaking to my audience on Insta, and I was saying, we're talking about like childcare. And then I also said, like, how often is your child getting sick? And the response I got was like, our kids are getting sick so often that we're having to take so much time off work that we've got no more sick leave. So now we have to take leave without pay, and it's still having financial impact. So even when they've got their kids in daycare, because of the sickness is always going around, they're still having to take so much time off work.
Yeah, and like the violence of the illnesses that seem to come out, like, you know, it's not like, oh, they got a cold. It's like they got foot and mouth, like all these diseases I didn't even know you could get.
Foot and mouth. I thought that was like
I know. I thought that was like a medieval first
Yeah.
fleet shit.
Yeah, scurvy.
Seriously, yeah. But yeah, so I know it's a really tough one for working parents. Like
so
if
tough.
you're constantly sick, then you're using up all your sick leave to look after your kids, and then you've got none for yourself. It's wild. And I think as well, you know, it's a different world from when we grew up because one, I think there's a lot more kids full-time in daycare, but also the amount of travel people do now, you know, and so you've got this constant rolling things from the northern hemisphere just coming into the southern hemisphere and vice versa. Like there's no end to the flu season. It's just year round.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, again, looking back at like when we were kids, a lot of the mothers didn't work. So they weren't doing it all. They weren't working full-time and looking after kids. They were just, well, working full-time as mums, but didn't have jobs on top of that.
Byron was away this weekend. I'm home looking after sick babies. Went to mum and dad's, which made it a lot easier. But I was feeling, I will say, a little bit resentful of like he's off to have a fun weekend and I'm, you know, parenting full time after parenting all week. So clever, strategically, he booked me in for a massage and a soak, just to butter me up a bit before he went away, which I was like, good move. But it got me thinking like, about how you split the load between you and your partner, and also just in this very intense phase of life with little babies. Like, what are the things you can do to make life a bit more fun, a bit more joyful, and just to take care of each other, and also just division of responsibilities. And it was interesting when we were having this chat, our producer Brianna was talking about how her and her partner have very split lanes. You know, like she's laundry, his dinner, and I feel like I don't have that clarity. Like we both do everything. Like I do a lot more because I'm with the children all day, but I quite liked that idea.
I think it's such a difficult conversation to have sometimes because I know even just with my own experience of like we're starting out, he's working full time. I'm still trying to do bits of work, but it's very hard because the baby needs me 24/7. But then trying to go, how are we going to split this? And he does a lot, but I think we need those defined lines because I just get resentful.
And then you don't see what they're doing necessarily.
No.
They definitely, when they're working, don't see what you're doing all day.
And then they think they're doing a lot and you're like, yeah, but I'm doing so much more. And
Yeah,
it's stuff,
and I
it's
breastfeed.
invisible. It's invisible. Yeah, and breastfeeding on top, but it's also invisible. Like it's like doing, like, for example, getting ready for this trip, it's like doing all the passports. I get all the vaccinations and he would have, like, I don't think he would even know when they're due. So it's just like that admin balance. And it's something that I struggle with of like, how do we do this?
Well, I liked the idea. I know we heard it once. Someone was talking about how they have, I think it was in a share house, but they'd have an open mic night once a week on a Wednesday night. But doing that where you have a more regular cadence of checking in with each other, because I feel like a lot of couples, and I'm probably guilty of this as well, you're just kind of reactively responding to stuff as it goes. Yeah. And I think it's really good and really healthy to have that carved out time to talk about stuff because otherwise I find it's like you know, you've put the kids down, you're exhausted, you're ready for bed, and then you're like, oh, can we just talk about, and it's just not the time, and you want to approach it when you're in a good state of mind.
Because I also want to talk about what are our goals together, what are we working on right now. But like every time I come to bring it up, I'm like, I'm exhausted. I don't even want to talk about this right now. Yeah. It's not inspiring. It's not exciting. It just feels heavy. I was listening to a couples counselor the other day, and they said what they find is key to help with successful relationships when you've got children, businesses, work, full-time work, part-time work, is it's about your Sunday night, and it's about planning your Sunday night, planning your meals, planning who's got what's happening, just so each other can see what the other one has on. You've got full clarity, and also kind of like looking at what domestic chores need to get done, who's going to do them.
Yeah, and because I think when you're the primary carer for the children, it's very easily in this point of life, everything starts to default to you as the stay-at-home parent, even though like we're both working and doing various things. And I think if you fall into the trap of like if you're set up with it now, you're going to have it for life, and I don't want that. So you have to be quite conscious about it.
But I see those videos on Instagram where like the dad's like, my wife, I'm going away for the weekend, and this is all the things I'm doing for my wife. Yes. And number one, it kind of makes me want to cry because I'm like, you exist. But also I'm just
I think a lot of women would feel like that.
But also I'm just like, I love my partner so much, but I don't think he would think to do that. He just wouldn't think to do that.
And I saw an interesting thing the other day that was saying it's not a relationship if one of you is the manager, like the project manager. And I felt that deeply in that I feel like most women in my life, they working full time, they're child rearing, and then they have the mental load of, you know, it's something women complain about all the time. Like it's the thinking. And so like you might outsource a task to your partner, but then you're checking back in with them, you're managing it, did it get done? And then it's like easier sometimes just to do it yourself. So I think this is really interesting about, I think, a regular cadence of checking in on this stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of stealing from Brianna, our producer, but bringing in like a quarterly proper catch up, and that might be on goals, on what has to be done for the
money.
House. Even just like now being homeowners, like, which I'm very grateful to be, but like the maintenance list is as long as my arm, and it's like, when do we get to it, you know? And I don't want to be the one constantly driving, we got to do this, we got to fix the roof, and we got to, like, you want to be doing that together, you know?
And then you just put exhaustion on top of everything. It's just like, oh, like, is this just a period of time in life where we're not as productive as we would like to be, and we just have to accept that?
Oh, I think so, absolutely. But it's that stuff that's got to get done. Like we have our bathroom is full of mold and caving in because it's been leaking with water. Like that's got to get sorted, you know? Like it doesn't matter how exhausted I am, it's got to get sorted.
Yeah.
So
again, I saw this video the other day, and it was really interesting. It was the father once again talking about like just sharing that mental load, and he goes, yeah, you might, as a guy, and I love these guy videos, I'm like, go you, good thing. It was a dad talking about how like, yeah, he'll make dinner, but he's been told what to make. He's been given all the ingredients, or he'll like go take the dog to the vet, but he's been told to take the dog to the vet. He's been told that it needs to be wormed. So he's going, well, I'm doing all these things, but it's someone telling them exactly what to do. And that's the bit we don't want to do anymore. That's the mental load. We want to split evenly.
Yeah, which is, you know, once again, like the video I made, Sexiest Man in the World, that went super viral when I was at Mamma Mia. I reshared it the other day. It's gone super viral again because women all around the world, and like there are people writing in the comments in just about every language in the world being like, yes, 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 you know, forward planning, thinking about the kids' birthday parties, worming the dog, like, oh my God, I wish my partner would do this stuff.
Well, they have this thing in Asia called confinement, and it's quite big in like China, Korea, a couple of other countries, some places in Thailand. And pretty much once the woman gives birth, these women are pretty much taken to like the equivalent of like a 5-star hotel. And that is where they stay for the first month, and they are waited upon. They're given massages, facials, they're given every meal. They're slowly...
Sign me up.
I know. I was literally like, yes, this is how all women should be treated after birth.
So Mol, you've been sending me a bit of content this week on family compounds.
Yeah.
So families where there's multiple siblings and the parents that have all like gone and bought a block together and built their own homes and all live. And I know this probably used to be our worst nightmare, like when we were younger, and now we're like,
bring it on. Bring us our compound. Let's start a family.
And like that woman, the one you sent me, and she's like, every day I go for a walk with my mum and sister. It's the best. I was like, I want to do that.
And
that
the kids
so nice.
grow up so close with their cousins and they just play with their cousins wherever they want.
But because the reality is we don't live that far apart from each other. I mean, you're traveling at the moment, but we've been living for the last 6 months like 20 minutes apart, and we still see each other maybe once a week, right?
Yeah, and I think like
twice.
we've got to start moving back to how it used to be. Like how it takes a village, it takes your whole family. You've got your aunties, your uncles around, everyone's helping, supporting, all. I just think like if we got a big block of land, we built a house, you built a house, mum and dad built a house, I think my twin will probably be like, we're good.
Yeah. She'll be like, hell no, worst nightmare.
But like that would just be so easy. We could do school drop-offs together, school pickups, or, we can share the load. We can do nightly dinners. I just think like it could be quite good. We could test it out for a little bit.
Let's put it on the vision board. Have you seen this thing going around called joy baiting?
Oh, yes. But explain what it is.
There's this guy and he's got a stash of followers now. He just literally walks around and joy baits people. So joy baiting is like going up to them being like, excuse me, gets their attention. You can't do that here. And they're like, what? And then he's like, look so good in pink, or like be looking so glamorous, my man. And the delight and the joy on people's faces when they think they're in trouble or he's got their attention, and then he's just like giving them a compliment. But it reminded me, like, because you and I do this all the time.
We love to compliment someone if they're looking fine, because I think like, number one, they've gone to effort, like, and they look amazing. They should, they should be told they look amazing, because their partner probably isn't going to tell them.
Exactly. I cannot walk past a well-dressed older woman and not stop her and just say, I just love your style. And it always makes someone's day. Like it's just joy all round.
I think what we have to get better at then, once we get the compliment, is just saying thank you. Not like, oh, it's really cheap, or I got it from Kmart, or it's just Zara. Just thank you.
Yeah, but also that's kind of fun to know where they got it from. But yeah, I agree with you. Just accept the compliment.
I did have seen one online recently, but the lady gives out like a Post-it note which has a compliment on it. It'll be like, you've got the finest face I've seen all day. Or you've got...
Oh yeah, this was very much more like pickup vibes though, wasn't it? Like she was complimenting handsome men that she obviously wanted to like. But I was like, good on you. I would never have had the guts to do that.
Or when people wear QR codes on the back being like, I'm single. Look, I was a few months away from doing that. Have you not seen that?
That's so good. No.
They wear a QR code on there. They get it printed on a T-shirt and they're at like a concert. And then if you scan it, it'll be like, hi, I'm single.
That's awesome. I love that. Remember like when you were single and we were like, okay, we got to get this show on the road. And we were coming up with lots of different creative ways to find you a partner. And do you remember we got to the point where I was like, Mole, what if we do a competition and we put out there into the ether, like I will give you $10,000 if you matchmake my sister. Like not if you date her, but if you find her perfect person and they get engaged, I'll give you $10,000.
And surprisingly, I was like, no, Bryony, it sounds
you're
like you're
that's
pimping
so desperate.
me out.
I was like, you got to find a way to like get your attention and get to the top. Remember that guy?
Maybe that's just like modern day dowries. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, at this point, I will pay $10,000 to like help us along.
My spinster sister needs a partner. I'll pay you to take her off my hands. Thanks,
Isn't
babe.
it funny? Isn't it funny though? Like when you look at the stats, I'm pretty sure single women without kids are actually the happiest.
They are the happiest.
And like your life expectancy
we've been
goes
sold
down.
a lie. Like, okay, taking my partner out of this, I love him. Love you, Vinny. But like all we're told as kids is find your prince. You want to live happily ever after, have the family. So, you find a man and then you have kids and then it's really hard. And then people and this is what the stats show, they get divorced and then they're really happy. So it's actually the single women who are the happiest. And
without kids, so
and
we're
the
stuffed.
men who are getting married live longer. There's a reason men who get married live longer.
Yeah, because they get looked after.
Yep.
And
but don't you think that's funny, B? Like we're sold this fairy tale But at the end
Yeah,
of the
bloody
day,
Disney started it.
it's the
So they
single
screwed us
women
up.
who are the happiest.
Yeah, I know. I saw this funny video the other day. It said, have children, get married. It'll open doors. And then it like cuts to all these doors. It's like the laundry door opening and the door to the washing machine and the pantry. I was like, yeah, seriously, it's so much of life. That's why you need a good domestic partner.
But also, I think, as you said as well, like, you've got to find ways to make it joyful. And when we're traveling, everything's joyful. We don't have to do any laundry. It's great.
Molly's like, I fixed it. I'm just going to travel for the rest of my life.
But like the making the dinners, the doing the laundry, like, you've got to, I guess, find joy in the mundane, because that's most of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot of life. And so, yeah, it's finding ways to hack or make it smoother or make it funner. Actually, this week I've got to say our beautiful housekeeper, Linda, who listens. Hi, Linda. She came to look after the boys the other day, and then when they went for a nap, she cooked us dinner. So when we came in from work, dinner was made. So that was amazing. And she's currently right now cooking dinner.
I want a house angel. I want a live-in house angel.
Once a week, I basically try and leech some free money advice off you. I'm like, make me richer, Molly. But you've got some good travel tips, travel money tips, because you've needed them this week.
Yeah, well, what I thought I'd do is actually just take you through a bunch of money hacks I use when I travel. So the first one is, and I love this, I'm not sponsored by them, I promise. Love this company. It's called Wise. It used to be called TransferWise. It's now Wise. And pretty much you can set up a digital payment card and you can load it up with any currency. So if you're traveling to Thailand, you can load it up with baht. If you're traveling to Vietnam, you can load it up with dong, and then you just use your phone to pay, and it just takes it from that currency. So you're saving on those exchange fees, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Also, can I just say dong is the best name for a currency ever. Dong.
When I travel with my girlfriends, we always used to put money into a kitty, but now it's a lot easier with, there's an app called Splitwise. So what Splitwise does is you just pop in, like if you paid for dinner one night, it'd be like, Molly paid $100 for dinner, and then you just say who was at the dinner, and it splits it automatically. So it just means, I went to New Zealand with like 10 friends a couple of years ago, and everyone would take turns paying. So then you just pop it on the Splitwise, and at the end it'll be like, you owe this person this much, you owe this person this much, you owe this person this much. There's another one that I've been using this holiday that I've never used before, and I actually found out about it from my own community. It's called TripIt. So every time you book anything online, we're talking hotels, flights, like tours, transfers, you then get the confirmation email. You just forward it to like tripit.com. Like you get an email address, it's plans at tripit.com. And then it puts it all in your itinerary for you. So instead of having to go through and find every email, which has all the codes and everything, it's all in this app called TripIt. So it saved me so much time, because I'll be like, oh, we're hopping on a flight. What's our itinerary? What do we do next? And it just has all the dates. It has all your confirmation numbers. Oh my God, it makes traveling much easier.
That's great. And do you have to buy things through the app, or it just links it all up anyway?
No, it just links it all up, and it's free as well.
Oh, that's great.
Also using eSIMs when you travel overseas. Like I'm quite lucky, I'm with Vodafone, and it's $5 a day no matter where you are. But with a lot of the other companies like Telstra, they'll charge you like $10, $15 a day. And that really adds up over time. So with eSIMs, you can just add them onto your phone, and then you just use the eSIM. And it means like instead of paying $20 a day, you're paying $20 for the whole time you're away.
Oh, great.
With unlimited data. And when I travel, I also don't like to travel with just one bank account, because that can be a bit risky if something happens to that bank account or that card. I also like to have an ING account. And the great thing about the ING account is that you get free ATM withdrawals. So sometimes it can cost you so much, just the international transaction fees, but with ING, they refund you all. So again, I'm not affiliated with any of the companies I've mentioned, but it's a great one to use.
And actually ING I find good in Australia anyway, because you're in like an Outback ATM and they're like, that's $7 to get cash out at this ATM, and ING pays you that back too. So like whether you're in Australia or traveling,
it's actually convenient. especially convenience stores, like I will literally go home, get my ING card and switch so I don't have to pay a $5 ATM fee. I'm like, hell no, that's my coffee for the day. And then my final one, which will be no surprise, Bryony, is travel insurance. There's so many different types of travel insurance. So what I personally do is I look for unlimited medical. That's the most important thing for me. I'm like, yeah, look, all the other things are great, like if your bags get lost or etc. But the most important thing for me is like, I want unlimited medical expenses. So if you are looking for a travel insurance, just make sure it has that. I look at a couple of the different comparison websites to find them, and then I go through the actual company's website to make sure I'm getting the best deal.
Who are you with, can I ask? Because they sounded amazing.
So I use Tick travel insurance this time.
Never heard of them.
So it was awesome. So within arriving at the hospital, they'd already contacted Tick, let them know we were there. Tick then called me, a nurse called me, and she's like, how's Amali going? Can you give me an update?
A nurse from the travel insurance called you?
Yes, yeah.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
I know. And she's like, do you have any questions? Do you have any issues? How are you being looked after? And she's the one who was like, yeah, being sick in like Thailand's the best place to be sick in because the hospitals are so amazing. Because she's like, how are you finding it? And I'm like, it's so good. And she's like, yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Wow, that's really good to know. I just always assumed it would just be an insurance person being like, you can't claim this, you can't claim that. And they're literally a nurse calling you.
Yeah. And I was like, look, are we going to be able to claim everything? And she's like, with a little baby who's had no other illnesses, like, yes, this will be 100% claimable.
Yeah. She doesn't have a 30-year pre-existing medical history.
Yeah.
She's squeaky clean and new.
Yeah. And I always say, if you can afford to travel, you can afford to get travel insurance. My partner used to travel without travel insurance back in the day. And I was like, oh my God, I would never leave the country without travel insurance.
Love it, Mo. All wonderful, very useful tools. Mo, I wanted to tell you something about something that's helping me feel a bit more like I'm doing some good in the world without stressing myself out. There's this awesome organization I came across, and it's called Parents for Climate Action. And the reason I want to share is I think when you're a parent, you're in this intense phase of life where you don't have a lot of time and bandwidth to think about all the big issues and engage in them and do something purposeful, impactful. But this organization's awesome. They just do really targeted campaigns because this is a group of parents that are really worried about the planet we're passing on to our kids. And so they run these really good campaigns around let's get solar and batteries put on your kid's school, or one that they're running at the moment that I thought was just a really easy win that anyone can get involved in. It's called Idle Off. It's like when you're at the school gate, they said if you're just running your car while you're waiting to pick up your kids, you can let out 120 balloons of pollution right in that space where all the kids are sitting there breathing it in. So they're like, just make a pledge, take the pledge. You just turn your car off and not sit in idle. And I was like, unless you're in an electric vehicle, I was like, that's such an easy, great win that anyone can do. Less pollution, better for the kids' health, for their friends' health, something everyone can do no matter how busy you are.
I love that because it can kind of feel a bit overwhelming. Even traveling, there is so much plastic here. There is plastic on top of plastic. You cannot avoid plastic in this country. I know they have plans to change it, but I'm like, they're going to have to implement that soon because it's just rife with plastic. And then the world is heating up. There is no doubt about it. It is so hot over here. I know Asia's always hot, but it is so hot. We're seeing crazy levels of hotness in other Asian countries like India, and
as well as extreme flooding, landslides,
and
all this
so
the usual unprecedented stuff.
Yeah, so it feels very this is such a big problem. This feels so overwhelming, but I love just little things like that we can all do, which is so simple.
Exactly. And so anyway, they're a good one. Get on their website, their mailing list. They've always got interesting campaigns, but that are also really impactful as well, doing good stuff. So anyway, just something I thought I'd share with you now that you're a parent.
I am.
You can be a parent for climate action. What has got to go for you this week?
Okay, what's got to go this week was while I was having my little hospital vacay, the food in the hospital was so nutritious. Everything would come with broccoli.
Said nobody ever.
I know, but everything would come with cabbage, broccoli. It was healthy food. The vending machine in the hospital, sold salads and fresh juices, the vending machine.
What?
And it just really made me think about when I was in hospital giving birth, and like I was very fortunate. I was in like a lovely private hospital. The food was horrendous. I remember one morning I just got a piece of white bread, toast, and that was breakfast, and some baked beans in a cup. And I was like, how is this? Like, we need good, nutritious food, and fibrous food, especially while we are like, we've got babies that we're, breastfeeding.
Well, you're literally breastfeeding. You can't create good quality milk if you're not having good quality food going into your body. Plus you're healing, you're recovering, and it's a huge part. Like the nutrients coming in.
Yeah, so I was just like, do you know what's got to go? Crappy hospital food. We need to get much better, much healthier, and more nutritious hospital food. Enough about me. What's got to go for you?
What's going to go for me is dramatic houseplants. Like, I am just like, toughen up, be hardy, or I don't want you anymore. Like, I've got enough things to keep alive in my house. Like sometimes you come in and your peace lily is just like, I've had the worst life, and you give it a bit of water and then it's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
but I just think toughen up,
I inherited your dramatic houseplants when I was in Sydney when you moved to the Gold Coast, and I can concur with that. Someone would be like, it looks so sad. And I'm like, just give it some water. It'll be happy in 5.
I saw this funny sketch this week. Someone was being like a house plant versus like an outdoor plant, and they're just like, outdoor plants, you can throw anything at them, a cyclone or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm cool. And like an indoor plant's like, I'm a bit thirsty, like, oh, it's just a little bit sunny here. And I was like, exactly. So dramatic houseplants got to go.
And I've just given up on orchids. Like that's just never going to fly in my house. Whenever someone gives me an orchid, I'm like, thank you. You have just brought this flower to its death. Like, I feel like it needs water. I give it too much water, it dies. And then I don't give it enough water, it dies. I'm like, I just can't.
Do you know the secret to keeping an orchid alive?
No, I did the ice cube. It didn't work.
Yeah, 1 ice cube a week is all you need. It does work. It does work. Yeah, a week, not a day. What were you doing?
No, not a day, but quite frequently.
It's 1 ice cube a week, but it cannot touch the root because that burns it and like puts into all kinds of chaos. It's got to go on the soil near it, and then it just means it slowly leaks in one little morsel of water. Look, it's once again, it would make the cut in my house too dramatic for me.